Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say that that my thoughts and the thoughts of all the emergency services who attended the incident yesterday are with the children who are in hospital and the children who were involved and who have been released, and their families and the friends of the school community that's been involved and the wider community. I know it's having a really significant impact on the community, and that's our first thoughts. In regards to the incident yesterday, when school finished, the bus obviously picked up the children from the school here. It travelled west along Exford Road, and as it turned right into Murphy's Lane, it has been struck from behind by the truck. That collision has caused the bus to flip onto its side and enter the intersection with Murphy's Lane, and as a result of that collision, several children in the bus have received life-changing injuries, and I guess it's at this time it's really important to remind the community about the messaging that we continue to provide around road safety, and that is, we want all road users to remain vigilant, concentrate, obey the speed limits, be really courteous to other road users, and stay completely in attention at all times, not use their mobile phone, to make sure that we don't see any instances of this nature. If people are listening to me at home, please speak to other road users in your house, in your family, and remind them of the dangers. As I said, some of the injuries are truly life-changing, and this incident was avoidable, as so many of the collisions that police and other emergency services attend to. So that's really the message. And so, obviously, after the collision, I do want to talk through some of the actions of the people who were involved. So the bus driver, despite being injured, I understand that he helped some of the children out of the bus, and then we had passers-by who have heroically stopped immediately and assisted in assisting the children who could be removed from the bus, and then we obviously had the emergency services respond, and some of the children were trapped in it, and as you say, it was a horrific scene, and it was chaotic, and it would have been really confronting for those passers-by. So I think a special mention to those people. Some of the people who also assisted are from the school here, so a lot of the people who did respond, both from the SES and other services, would know people involved in the collision, and some of the teachers went down to the scene and assisted in triaging the children before they went to hospital. So so again, a special mention for those people. And then finally, in regards to the driver, a driver of the truck, a 49-year-old male, has been charged with dangerous driving causing serious injuries. There are multiple counts in regards to that, and he will front the Melbourne Magistrates Court later today.
In terms of that truck driver, was he on his phone? Will police allege he had drugs or alcohol in his system? What's the conditional update with him?
No, so some of those questions that you asked will go to the investigation, and are still live in the investigation. Inattention is something that we are actively looking at as part of the investigation.
Michael, we're talking about kids with their siblings on the bus going home from a school day, which they would have done so many times before. When paramedics and police and families and teachers got to that scene, can you sort of talk us through what happened from that moment? We had vision of Good Samaritans, plainclothes police pulling children out of that wreckage. Can you talk us through a bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that we're all human in these roles, and some of the people who respond have children, and whether you have children or not, it's a really terrible and confronting scene that they've gone to, and when I heard the job, your heart really sinks. Like it's really confronting. On the way down, some of the thoughts that are going through your mind about how impactful it's going to be, firstly for the children, and then for all of their families, and then for the police and other emergency services that responded. The response time from the emergency services was really quite quick, in my opinion. And we got down there. They were able to stabilise the bus and then start to remove the children from the bus and triage. It is a difficult environment to work in. The intersection's just surrounded by paddocks, so we had to sort of set up just temporary triaging areas, and then what I can say is that those who were most seriously injured were conveyed to hospital and really quickly, and got to the Royal Children's and also the Sunshine Hospital, where they received that treatment.
You said the police will be investigating inattention behind the wheel. Was the truck driver allegedly on his mobile phone? Do you know?
No, that will form part of the investigation, but there's no information that I have that was the case.
Michael, are you expecting there to be more charges on this matter for that 49-year-old man?
Yeah, look, as the investigation continues, it is likely that there will be more charges.
Is it likely that speed was a factor as well in the crash?
It's unfortunately too early to say at this stage, but as I say, the speed will be considered as well as part of the investigation. We had our Major Collision Investigation Unit detectives have been here for the last near on 24 hours, and they've obviously done all of the work that they do, all of the assessments and investigations that they're doing, so that will absolutely form part of the investigation.
Are you able to provide any update on the children's condition?
No, that's a matter for the Royal Children's Hospital and the other hospitals where they're currently receiving treatment.
What was the response time for crews to get to the bus?
I don't know the exact response times, but it was very quick. I was monitoring the radio, and in a very short time they were at the scene.
Michael, were the children wearing seatbelts, or do we know if the children that were seriously injured were wearing seatbelts?
Yeah, so I do know that the bus was fitted with seatbelts, but I'm unaware of the children who were and were not wearing seatbelts.
Michael, and just in regards to those additional charges, can you just confirm that they're likely to be similar in nature to the charges that have already been laid against this man? They're not going to be something like that?
No, I probably can't go into exactly what the additional charges will be. The most serious charges of dangerous driving causing serious injury have been laid.
What would you say to the people that jumped out of their vehicles and helped at the scene?
Oh, firstly, thank you in the first instance, and undoubtedly their actions have potentially prevented further injuries, and also reduced the time it took to get the children out of the bus and to hospital. Some of them are heroes. If you at the time that the bus overturned, I understand that there was diesel leaking from the bus, and it's a really confronting scene. As I said, some of the injuries are really very traumatic, and that would be a difficult scene for a passerby to come across, and then to have acted the way they did is really admirable.
And can you just take us through, I guess, what the impact has been like for the police? Obviously, being on the scene, it is incredibly horrific and confronting. Lots of them have kids or young children in their lives, and it would be hard to handle something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said before, police and I want to acknowledge all of the emergency services that were there: Fire Rescue Victoria, Ambulance Victoria, and also the SES. It'll be very impactful for all of the emergency services who attended yesterday. Fortunately, we do have processes in place to assist those people as much as possible, as well as as I said, as well as the teachers from the school who went down as well. We've just had a meeting with the parents of some of the children in the school and some of the staff that were there, and it's sort of unimaginable to imagine that the children were in their classrooms and such a short time later so seriously injured, so close to school, and then for the teachers to have turned out, that's going to be really impactful for them as well. So it's just another reason around the road safety messages that we get across, because as I said, so many of these instances are avoidable, and and then the outcomes are so horrific and terrible. So, like I said, if you're listening to me now in the car, think about what you're doing. Pay attention, slow down, and be courteous to other road users, and consider that things on the road can change at short time. Leave those safe distances, and importantly, speak to others about the importance of road safety.
Lisa, I might just get you to
Sure.
pop in front of the mics if that's
This is Craig Wilson, our assistant principal.
really great. Thank you for your time. I'll just get you a little bit closer to the microphone.
Sure. Thank you. I'm a lot closer than Michael was. Thank you all for turning out this afternoon. I want to start by just sending all of our children and their families our love and our support, and our thoughts are with them, and I've been in contact with as many as I could reach, and we'll be bringing them all again later on. I just want to absolutely acknowledge our amazing staff, almost the entirety of our teaching staff. Some were here managing the situation at school in terms of family calls. The majority were down at the site with us, and that was really confronting. We expecting, a fender bender, not anything more than that. And our staff just instinctively wrapped their arms around the kids and provided love and support and comfort in a really, really difficult situation. I want to acknowledge all the amazing people who stopped to help. Some of those people were past parents of ours, so they are always part of the Exford family. But to everyone who stopped to offer assistance and help and comfort, blankets, thank you. You have our absolute appreciation. To the emergency services who turned out in full and were so amazingly efficient in supporting our kids. And to VicPol and the department for the wraparound supports we're now receiving as we look towards how do we support our kids as they start to return to school. To our amazing local community, we've been inundated with messages of love and support and food and flowers, and it's just lovely to know that that our community is right there with us. Obviously, as we move forward into supporting the kids as they start to return home or return to school, that is where our focus will be, and we fully appreciate that you'll allow us to be 100% focused on our kids as we usually are. So thank you all for your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit?
Sorry?
Can you tell us a little bit about the meeting that you had with some of the parents this afternoon and what the mood was like?
Sure. Do you want to? Is that? Yeah, sure. So we spoke with the parents just around, so the police were able to explain the process. Sorry, I'm not. Just the process around that investigation and where to, and the supports available for their families, and how they'll continue to be in communication with them so that they're aware of what's going on.
How are they feeling?
Oh, look, they're undeniably very distressed. I mean, it was such a confronting scene for our families to arrive to see what they saw, as it is for our staff. I've got a fairly distressed staff as well.
Lisa, you were one of the staff members who rushed down to the scene, is that correct? When did you first find out about what had happened?
We got a call, a community member gave us a call to say that the bus has been in an accident, and we were about to start our staff meeting, and I said, got to go, and they all followed me down. And we just flooded the kids.
When you were driving there, what was sort of going through your head? What were you picturing when you were about to arrive?
I didn't know what I was going to see. I honestly thought I'd be just there comforting some distressed kids who, there'd been a minor collision. Didn't ever expect to see that, and hope I never see that again.
I know you said that your priority is the children, their families and your staff, but how are you doing after going through that and seeing that?
It's just distressing knowing what our kids have been through, and I can only just imagine their fear in being confronted with that scene. And as I said, that's myself and my assistant principal and our staff. They just wrap their arms around the kids. I mean, I know we're not supposed to hug kids, but that's what they needed us to do when we hugged. Yeah.
What support is being provided to families affected?
Yeah. Okay, so we've got all of the student support services team here today, and I've offered that support to the families, and of course there's lots of supports that VicPol can offer as well. Yeah. And my staff are on the lookout for just because your kids so well, you can then start to see children who are, their behaviour is distressed, and getting that support to them as quickly as we can. Yeah.
Obviously, it sounds like it's an incredibly tight community.
We are.
The school. Can you talk me through that and what that support support and care for each other looks like going forward?
Sure. When I first came to this school, 2008, which is probably more years than I want to admit, we were under 100 children. We've had a slow and steady growth, and we got quite big, and then with the opening of some of the new schools and the families moved to those. So we're down now under 300. So it's a lovely environment of, we know all of our kids, we know all of our families, and and Craig and I pride ourselves in being really visible within the school. We do all of the morning, and afternoon yard duties and drop-offs, and it's nice to have a chat with our families. And it's also, you're just always gently just checking on kids and how they're going, and it's just, our staff are amazing. And I mean, they stayed to the end last night. They, even though you could see that they were tired and cold and distressed, they stayed until all the kids were safely away.
And I imagine it was a pretty sleepless night for most of you.
Yeah.
How are the staff doing today, and how have they been looking after each other?
Well, we did joke at one stage that we were going to have a school-wide nap at 10 o'clock. We just ring a bell and everyone had to just have a little rest. But we're just taking it really easy today and just surrounding our kids with love and support. Yeah.
There are some students here today.
Yes. Yeah. Missing a few in terms of there's some children obviously that are still being cared for, and others that are, having a school-approved pyjama day. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we just make sure one of our little girls is sitting there?
I
She's
don't
gone
think
now.
it will be.
Okay, can we just make sure she doesn't?
Yeah, we will make sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.